Welcome to the People Powered Solutions podcast. In this show, you'll gain expert advice and tips on building a thriving workplace culture with happy employees. I'm your host, Lorianne Duguay, and I'm thrilled to be spending this time with you today. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the People Powered podcast. We are mixing things up this week. We are going to take a pause from our Culture Secret Sauce series. And I'm going to spend some time highlighting and going over some of the tools our amazing team has built to, again, help us achieve our mission, our vision of being able to contribute to the creation of as many happier, more productive workplaces in 2024. Our plan is to get some free tools into the hands of anyone who wants to use them so they have what they need, not only the model to work from, but also the information required to ignite their very own culture transformation. So that is the plan today. We have no guests. I'm flying this coop solo, and we're just going to go over some of the different tools that we have put together. In order for this to be clear, you're probably best watching it rather than listening to it. If you're able to visit our YouTube channel, it'll probably be that much more impactful because I am going to be sharing my screen and really walking you through two pretty cool tools that we have put together, just so you can understand. We've been posting on social media about some of these tools, but we understand how algorithms work. Not every post that we post ends up on all of our followers or all of our connections feeds. So we want to make sure that we're getting the information into as many people's hands as possible. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen in 1 second here, folks. There you go. And you should now be seeing our homepage. And if you're not familiar with it, you're welcome to visit it at www.bepeoplepowered.com. And you will end up on our homepage, which, stay tuned, we are actually going to be implementing a number of different edits to this homepage. So it might not look like this by the time you hear this episode and you navigate to it. But what I'm going to now invite you to do is to click on the happiness factor at the very top. You'll see that under the happiness factor, which is conveniently also the name of our book, so we will see a goal setting sheet. So what that is just, it's a sheet to help if you're a leader having to coach an employee in establishing some SMART goals. So goals that are going to be very specific, measurable. And I actually have an entire video on the YouTube channel that speaks to SMART goals and how to establish them. This is a worksheet that'll help you kind of provide, you could print it out or send it to them, download it, whatever you want, it's for free. And they can establish some goals, be it relevant to their performance, or maybe it's you as a business owner who wants to set some goals and could use that reminder of specifically how to ensure that your goals are in fact attainable. The thing I want you to click on, which is our really cool new tool, is the happiness factor culture check. When you click on that, it will have you navigate to the happiness factor. And here you go. This is what it looks like. It is exactly what it says. It's 20 yes or no questions. Anyone can answer that. So let's go ahead and click start my culture check. You know what? Let's actually time how much time it takes. Okay, I'm going to click start on the stopwatch and start on the culture check. There you go. Do we struggle with retention and keeping employees loyal to our company? I'm going to say that yes, because that is unfortunately the reality of, I would say, a good 80% of companies and organizations out there. And again, I reiterate, as much as people think that they're stuck in that loop because they can't increase their wages, they can't increase compensation, I am here to tell you that is likely not the case. Believe it or not, people will stay somewhere if the culture is healthy and thriving for less money, but they will also leave to go work elsewhere for less money if the culture is toxic. So I don't think it's necessarily 100% about the money. And these tools are specifically in terms of helping you create a workplace culture where people feel seen, heard, and valued. So do we see the same mistakes? I shouldn't have been talking like this whole time. I realize it now because I'm taking way more time by explaining every question. So we'll have to dodge maybe a good 50 seconds off of our final time. Do we see the same mistakes happening? No, I don't see that. Let's just say. Do we get a lot of the same questions from team members? Yes, we do. Do we understand how their role and work fits into the organization's bigger picture? Yes. Do we often have to deal with gossip and rumors? Yes, unfortunately. Do team members frequently suggest product, processes, or business improvement ideas? No. Have some of our team members suffered from burnout or chronic absenteeism? Not really. Have we noticed a decrease in productivity or quality of work? Yes. And again, I'm answering this randomly as if I was just a random company. Do we have structured training programs for onboarding our new leaders? Yes. Do team members regularly grow from one role to the next in the organization? Yes. Do we get many complaints about our leaders? No. Do we struggle with silos? Yes, we do. Do our leaders work excessive hours? No. Do employees resist taking on new roles and responsibilities? Yes. Do we have to deal with recurring conflicts and tension between team members, teams, or departments? Yes. Do employees recognize each other's efforts? No. Do we have trouble getting individuals and teams to participate in special events and activities at work? No. Do we frequently lose high-performing employees? Yes. Do team members go to their managers for any and all reasons? Yes. In the past 6 months, have we celebrated a milestone? Yes. Okay. So then you get here, and honestly, I am at 2 minutes 49 seconds, including my explanation after the first question. So it's literally approximately 2 minutes to complete. You enter your name. I'm going to call my last name here Test, and your organization, and you will submit your answers. It needs a bit of time as it's compiling, analyzing your submission, and then you get to this screen where your results are ready to review. Here is what your results, your instant results actually look like. The intent was to, again, use those 10 needs that need to be fulfilled for someone to feel happy and more productive at work, and to provide you with a quick way to kind of do a pulse check to see which needs you are apparently doing really well in, and then which needs might have room for improvement. The idea is that you can then take this kind of added insight and start to be more strategic in where you invest your time and your resources. So it looks like we're doing really great when it comes to work-life balance, as well as when it comes to leadership. And so it just talks a bit about that. Where there might be opportunities for improvement is for clarity and for growth opportunities. And yes, right there, we've got 3 very specific strategies that you can right away start to implement to improve on both those needs. So when it comes to clarity as well as growth opportunities. And then the last section, and of course, the way I answered, I purposely did it this way, are which needs are costing you money. So it's very specific in terms of these are the needs that based on your answers are likely costing you money. So just important for you to take the time to review your results, and then you're going to see specifically what needs you might want to prioritize, what needs you might want to improve on. But then what, right? Again, there's this notion of how can we give you even more information is, okay, I understand now that I need to improve on these needs, but what can I do about it? You then have the option to email yourself a copy of your assessment results, so you've got it handy. But the beautiful thing is you can then navigate right on top here. You see the people-powered portal? You can click that button, and this is a piece that we're extremely excited about. Our team has worked extra hard on putting this wonderful resource together for you. Because I was already logged in, it took me directly to the portal itself. But if you've never logged in before, you will have to register for an account, which is free, no worries. Just take the time to input the information required, and then you are good to go to access. What we've done in this portal, we've attempted to build a library of resources so that you can now take that assessment check, determine where there might be room for improvement, and then have this beautiful repository of resources that you can explore in order to build your very own action plan. So let's kickstart this transformation. We tell you specifically how to navigate. You're going to click, take the happiness factor culture check. You're going to view your results and then see which needs need to be prioritized. And then you're actually going to start to build your action plan. You can click on any of these needs. For example, we saw that communication was a need that required improvement. So you can click on there and you will be taken to the communication action plan page. Within that action plan page, you have our top 3 tips to improve communication. So let's read through them really quickly for those who may be listening only and not seeing the screen right now. So popularize and implement open door policies for management to let team members know that they can and should approach their leaders. The second tip to improve communication within your organization is to use more than one communication channel, emails, meetings, intranet, etc., to disseminate information to ensure uptake by all different learning styles. We all learn differently, where some person might be very visual, another person might be more auditory. So make sure that you are, the more sensitive the message, the more you want to multiply the different channels that you are sending it out on, so that you can optimize the likelihood that people will in fact get what the intended meaning of that message. And our third tip that we have at the top of the page here is to train your managers, your leaders, your supervisors, your leads in effective, empathetic communication skills, and to teach them how to run meetings. Because one of the biggest complaints we get when working with clients and when we start to dig a bit deeper and we perform an engagement survey with their teams is that the meetings are completely inefficient. So these are 3 ways to help facilitate communication within your organization right off the top of this page. Now, you'll notice that the whole intent is, it's rooted in the book, which of course is measure, map, and mobilize. So we are going to walk you through all of these steps and have some very specific insights relevant to each of those steps. Now, if you're not up for yourself taking ownership of your transformation, you are more than welcome to book a free discovery call with us. And there's a button right there to help you, to provide you the opportunity to talk with one of our team members to see how we might be able to support a culture transformation within your company. But if you are chomping at the bit and ready to get started, then you are more than welcome to explore all of these pages. They're there, they're free. Why not get the information into as many hands as possible? So when we talk about measuring, the first step is about understanding your baseline, right? Before we start to develop any improvement project, we need to understand what are we working with? Where are we starting from? So that we can, down the line, repeat this measure and see whether or not we've effectively improved on that baseline measure. So the first step in any transformation, as I was just saying, is really understanding your baseline. So we've got a number of different metrics. Again, these different things will change from one page to another. It's really relevant to communication. So here are some of the things that you want to be using, some of the tools you want to be using to measure how effective your communication is. We talk here of engagement survey results, and all of these sections are expandable. So communication frequency and reach. You can assess the volume of emails, open rates of newsletters, traffic in workspaces, Teams, Slack, Google, whatever suite of workspace that your company uses, and intranet interaction rates to measure whether information is being communicated efficiently. We talk about communication audits. We talk about employee suggestion rates and job application and job offer acceptance rates. So these are all things that you can use to measure how effective communication is within your workplace. So once you're done with all these measures, we then get you to explore how you can then map out your existing employee experience, use some of the data that you've gathered through that previous kind of measuring exercise to determine where there might be some room for improvement. So and the way we've structured these pages is we take you from the 5 stages that we cover in the book where you're likely more at risk to lose people or to get people to check out. And these are the stages that you want to prioritize when you're trying to ignite some culture transformation. So we've got some really powerful questions to ask yourself. Again, these will change from one need page to the next because they are relevant to this specific need. So if we're talking about communication here, communication during recruitment sets the tone for, and you can see at the top of the slide here, we talk about those prospective employees. So recruitment, it sets the tone for the employer brand, influencing who applies for job ads and how many accept actual job offers. So here are some questions to think about in terms of how well you are providing for that communication need. How are our job postings showcasing our organizational culture and brand voice? My French is coming out in my reading here. How can we use our tone to attract ideal candidates? How do we communicate clear timelines and recruitment processes? Then we can look at that next step when we're onboarding. How can we better communicate with future employees once they accept the job offer? So in between the moment they've accepted through to their first day, how can we better communicate and get as much information as possible into their hands to preempt some of those first day jitters, but also to ensure they have the information they need to immediately hit the ground running once they do start. They've got that basic kind of, who's your manager? How do we roll type information? What's this role about? There's no such thing as over communication. So the more information, the more questions you can preempt and prep some resources to address some of those questions, the better. You can share it ahead of time. Absolutely. As long as you frame it in a way that this is optional reading, because we know there's all kinds of styles out there. And if they prefer to deep dive and to, get started before they really officially start, then they have that option. But if they don't want to read and they'd prefer to kind of wing it as of day one, they have that option as well. You're really tailoring that onboarding experience to the preferences and needs of all different personality styles by approaching it this way. So again, there are questions here in terms of the onboarding. Then we move into development. So once someone is fully trained, here are some different questions to be asking yourself in terms of just overall effect with those more long tenured workers, those who are fully trained. How are we continuing to provide for that need for communication, that need for information on the daily, the way that we've structured the workplace, the way that we've structured all things relevant to their daily operations. Next, we talk about that next stage where they've started to shop around, they've checked out. And I repeat this figure all the time, that studies show 1 in 4 of your existing employees are shopping around. So how are you being more strategic in ensuring that you give them the information they need to effectively check back in? How do we get them to fall back in love? As I mentioned, the analogy I use in the book, I believe, is like a teenager who's fallen out of love with someone. How do you get them to check back in? So here are some questions to ensure that you are providing for that communication need during that phase. And the final phase being the exit and the departing employee. How are we ensuring that we are still providing for that need of communication, that need for information upon exit? So you can visit each of the different pages, and these 5 slides will be different on each page. And the questions contained in those 5 slides will also be different. So we've went through measure, provided a ton of insight in terms of how you might want to measure the level to which you're providing communication. Then we've talked about mapping that employee journey. And the final step, of course, is our mobilize, that third M. And so in that section, we have actually shared a bunch of strategies, initiatives that we have implemented with clients, and we've seen success in terms of increasing the effectiveness and increasing the degree to which that company was providing for the communication needs. So we've decided to just add those details here, and just a few really quick ones where we would have, design team meeting operating systems to have productive and engaging meetings and town halls. To that point, we've also had them kind of develop some meeting etiquette, some meeting cards, so speaking cards, and just organization of the meeting, just overall guidance on how to run meetings within the organization, but then to have the systems develop that support that structure being adhered to and being administered consistently across the company. So here are some existing ones that we've added and that we've seen success. And then my favorite part, there's some reflective questions that essentially are going to allow you to start building an action plan. And that action plan will directly translate into a culture transformation implementation. So you can answer those questions based on what you've read, based on some of the work that you've done in those other sections of this page. Then you can email yourself the plan. And it gives you that kind of accountability piece and that very tactical step-by-step of the to-do list that you want to do. I mean, ultimately, this is the type of work that we do with clients. What we've done is now built the resource for you guys to take ownership of that process yourselves and to be able to start developing that plan even ahead of involving us to support the implementation and to guide your company. If that's even an option that you go, you can probably, with the resources on this website, anyone who's got a bit of know-how should be able to build a pretty robust plan as well as roll it out. At the bottom of each of these pages, we've also, for ease of reference, curated some articles relevant to that particular need, as well as linked to any episodes from our podcast, from former episodes that would have talked about communication or would have shared insights on communication and how to improve it. For some reason, my page is not loading. I suspect it's because I am sharing the screen right now, but at the end of the day, you will see that there are those podcasts. There you go. The podcast episodes are also there. So you're welcome to start exploring, any of these need pages. We've got all 10 needs there. We've also embedded a feedback form. So we are more than excited to hear how you found it, whether or not it was helpful. And certainly we do encourage you to use it. There's, again, the content for each of these pages will be different. So you're welcome to explore each need page based on which needs might have shown up in the red section or the yellow section of your happiness factor culture check. Next, you can navigate back to our homepage right here with that link at the very top. And once you navigate back to the homepage, you will end up here. And the last thing I'd like to highlight for you is our upcoming culture transformation. So again, to broaden our scope of impact, the same reason we wrote the book, same reason we started the podcast, is to really try and get this information to the hands of as many people as possible. Well, we've also to train people to do what we do. So this is what the people-powered certification credential is about. You to become a people-powered professional, we will train you to 100% apply the 3M model within your own organization. We will teach you about some of the red flags to look out for and what they might be indicative of. We will talk to the participants on what kind of strategies will improve on what need, how to start to initiate and implement those strategies, what are some best practices when it comes to moving any culture transformation project forward. What are some of the things they need to start implementing daily and annually? They will also be given a very robust employee engagement survey bundle where they'll be able to take that bundle and implement that employee engagement survey within their own companies. And that employee engagement survey, which is the one that we use with clients all the time, is aimed at measuring how effectively you are providing for those 10 needs. So the employee engagement will be theirs to keep afterwards, and they're welcome to implement it within their own companies. We'll also teach them how to leverage certain tools that already exist out there to compile and analyze their results, their survey results, and talk to them about what they need to do after the employee engagement survey to make sure that people continue to participate in these crucial exercises on an annual basis. So you're welcome to visit the page. We are accepting 30 individuals. You can send more than one individual from the same company if you want them to kind of tag team an implementation, and there are some additional savings if you do choose to send more than one person. It's happening June 4th to 6th. From 10 to 3 with a break for lunch in between. It is a virtual opportunity. So regardless of where you are in the world, you can participate. We do encourage you to participate. I'm telling you, we are going to be training people to do what we do within their own company. So all of the details of what's included, what are some of the discounts, and what you might have access to and what you're going to be walking away with are all on the registration page. So please do take the time to click through that and to check it out. I think it is a really, really exciting program, and we are thrilled to be able to create a community of culture change makers out there. So definitely check it out. Happiness Factor Culture Check, level 1, if you will, to understand what might be at play. The People Powered Portal, your one-stop shop to start building your action plan. And if you want to level it up even more, consider registering for our People Powered Professional certification, where you will in fact be trained to lead a culture transformation project within your organization. That's it for this week, folks. Thanks for listening. All I ask is that you share this episode throughout your network to fuel our mission of getting this information in as many people's hands as possible, so that in 2024, we will have successfully contributed to the creation of as many happier, more productive workplaces. Well, folks, thanks for joining us for yet another enriching conversation. To hear more about today's guests, make sure to check out the links in the description of this episode. Want to continue the conversation? Then head on over to our social media platforms, all of which are also linked in the description, to keep it going. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to make sure you don't miss another valuable episode.